Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with ChrisChamasiros. I talk about politics, sports, and entertainment to keep you well-rounded. What's going on around the world? If you don't like hearing the truth, definitely don't tune into this channel. So let's get started today. So in the sports world, over the weekend, Shador Sanders is the big story. He led the Cleveland Browns to a victory over the Carolina Panthers, 30-10. And Shedeur was poised. He was calm. He wasn't frazzled at all. He wasn't intimidated by the moment. He played excellent football for his first time in live action against another NFL team. And what happened after that? Woke ESPN, racist Ryan Clark, Deion Sanders, Josina Anderson. What do? They make the whole situation racial. They go on Twitter, and racist Ryan Clark, he heads to X to say that Jimmy Haslam, basically making Jimmy Haslam sound like he's a racist because he said he wasn't responsible for drafting Shador Sanders. You know, the same owner that gave Deshaun Watson $250 million in guaranteed money when everybody in the whole planet knew Deshaun Watson was under investigation and would possibly be expelled from the National Football League. And then leave it to Josina Anderson attacking Jackson Dart on X as he's playing. So this is a young man who's never done anything wrong in his life other than being white and wanted to play football. He gets drafted by the New York Giants over Shador Sanders. And Josina Anderson is trying to make it sound like the New York Giants did something wrong and Jackson Dart did something wrong. No, the only thing that Jackson Dart did that's wrong to racist Ryan Clark and Josina Anderson is that he's white. Because if he was a black quarterback, they wouldn't be attacking him. So they try to ruin his moment. And meanwhile, he played outstanding, Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart led the New York Giants to a victory over the Buffalo Bills, 34-25. He was 12 for 19, 63.2 completion rate, 154 yards passing, average 8.1 yards a pass, one touchdown. His longest pass of the day was 29 yards. His rating for the night was a 106.0. So Jackson Dart plays outstanding. And what is racist Ryan Clark, Josina Anderson, and the rest of the clown show at ESPN? They start attacking him like he did, like Jackson Dart did something wrong, like white people did something wrong, like white people tried to hold down Shador Sanders. You know, the racist NFL owners held Shador down because they don't like a confident black man that wears gold chains. And look at him now. Shador was 14 for 23 for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. And according to racist Ryan Clark, Josina Anderson, and the rest of the woke ESPN garbage broadcasters, Shador Sanders is now better than Joe Montana. He's the best quarterback that ever lived. But you know what's amazing about all this? You know what's amazing about all of it is a few simple things. Number one, nobody blames Deion Sanders, his father, for his big mouth saying that my son will never play for the Cleveland Browns and a bunch of other teams when there's only so many quarterbacks that can get picked in the first round. So Deion coming out and saying that, it makes teams say, you know what, I don't have to deal with this, and I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to pick somebody else. So his father's big mouth, nobody ever addresses that. Let's just blame the white man. Let's blame Jackson Dart because, you know, he's a Caucasianoid and like he had anything to do with the situation. And then the next thing that nobody ever talks about but me is this. Shador Sanders, his last game against BYU, a BYU team that didn't have one NFL player drafted to it, absolutely destroys the Buffaloes. And it comes out, reports come out, and it's a fact that Shador Sanders took his team to the strip club for 2 days before the game, and the Buffaloes totally shit the bed and get blown out of the bowl game. And that's his last piece of work in college football. And nobody ever talks about it. You don't think that hurt his draft status? You don't think the scouts find this out and the head coaches? And they're like, all right, well, where's your head at? Tom Brady's best college game he ever played was the last game he ever played against Alabama. If you don't believe me, you got to watch it. It's an incredible game. They go back and forth the entire game, touchdown for touchdown for touchdown. Tom Brady absolutely plays lights out, and he still goes in the 7th round. Nobody ever addresses any of these things that I brought up about Shador Sanders falling in the draft. His father's big mouth, his last piece of work, and then let's not forget the interviews, how when Shador Sanders got interviewed by the New York Giants and the head coach intentionally put the install in wrong, and he wanted to see if Shedeur would pick up on it, Shador Sanders got an attitude and was mad and had a back and forth with the head coach of the New York Giants because he didn't like the way he was being treated. Nobody ever talks about it. What does racist Ryan Clark do? What does Josina Anderson do? What does Dion do? It's all the white man's fault. It's white people's fault for holding down Shedeur, the white man, the racist, the old NFL racist white owners. They don't like confident black men. It's like, if you could say that with a straight face, that the NFL owners don't like confident black men, you should be embarrassed of yourself for that even coming out of your mouth. We're talking about the NFL of all places. Let me tell you, the NFL loves confident black men, and it rewards confident black men who back up their play, who back up their confidence with their play. It rewards them in a way where generations of their family are rich. But hey, let's all blame the white man. Let's blame Jackson Dart. Let's blame all white people for Shedor's actions and Dion's actions. It's easier to blame everybody else instead of taking accountability for your own behavior and why your son slipped in the draft. Again, Shedeur played excellent, but let's put things in perspective why he slipped in the draft. Nobody asked Dion the tough questions. And then there's a reporter in Cleveland who is like the top reporter. I can't recall the man's name. He's an older guy. His name is Joe something. He's not on the Shador Sanders bandwagon. And Shedeur is like confronting him after the game. Shedeur, I have a question for you. When Tom Brady took over for the Patriots, do you think every reporter was on board? Do you think every single reporter had something good to say about Tom Brady? You're being petty. Your father's being petty. You don't need to address all of your people saying negative things about you. Now, if they come to your face, if they come to you and they got something to say, I'm all for you defending yourself and saying what you got to say. But when you go looking for that person to call them out because you didn't like something that they said about you, what do you think is going to go on an NFL field with an NFL defense? You think they're going to show you any mercy if they know it's that easy to get under your skin? And I'm a Steelers fan, Shedeur, and I say this all the time. I want you to be Tom Brady. I want the biggest talent, the biggest game in town to be the Steelers versus the Browns because I want to see you get hammered. And Shedeur, this whole watch thing, right? When you do that, it's one thing to do it against the Panthers, who are literally the worst defense in the league. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But when you come to the AFC North, the most vicious division in football, I want you to do that watch symbol when TJ Watt's rushing the passer, Alex Highsmith, or when you play the Baltimore Ravens. You go there, Shedeur, because this ain't Colorado. And you're welcome to the NFL moment doing that type of garbage. But hey, you played great. For anybody that say that Shedeur didn't play well, you're just lying. He played excellent. I'll give him that. But the outrage, all the fake outrage of, all the white owners and all the white people in America held the young black man down, and that's why he went in the 5th round. That's total bullshit and garbage. Shedeur's behavior, his play, his father's big mouth are the reason why he went in the 5th round. So if Shedeur and the Sanders regime wants to blame anybody, you need to take a long look in the mirror and blame yourselves. I'm going to read you some interesting facts about the Carolina Panthers defense. The Carolina Panthers defense in 2024 was historically bad, setting an NFL record for points allowed, 534, and finishing last in several key defensive rankings. Key statistics: points allowed, 534, an NFL record. Total yards allowed, 7,100, second most in NFL history. Rushing yards allowed, 3,057 yards, third most in NFL history. You notice how Shedeur was able to run the ball against the Panthers? He couldn't even do that in college. I wonder why. Yards per play ranked 32nd, a significant drop from 6th the previous year. Third down defense ranked 32nd. Scoring defense ranked 32nd. Pressure percentage ranked dead last in the NFL, 32nd. If you don't, hey, I'm not trying to take away from what Shedeur accomplished, but Shedeur is literally playing the worst defense in the league, and not only in the league, but in the history of the NFL. They led it in like 4 to 5 categories. Jackson Dart, you know who he played? The Buffalo Bills. The same Buffalo Bills that are like a play away every single year from going to the Super Bowl, but lose to Patrick Mahomes with 8 seconds left on the clock. You know those Buffalo Bills? Competition matters. Oh, I want Shedeur to start. Trust me, I do. I want you to be the starter, Shedeur. I want you to come to Acrisure and throw up the watch. I want to see Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt coming off the edge, and it's going to be a sight that you've never seen before. I want you to be that guy. Then I want to see all the race baiters. I want to see all the race baiters what they're going to say after the game. Because the race baiters, after Shador Sanders had a great night, all the race baiters came out. Blamed everybody but Dion, Shedeur, and blamed basically every white person on the planet for Shador Sanders dropping to the 5th round. But I wouldn't expect anything less. I really wouldn't. It's absolutely pathetic. It's pathetic. Nobody asked Deion Sanders. I'll ask him the tough question. I'd love to interview Deion. I would love to speak to him. Oh, you're just a hate. No, I'm not. I have legitimate questions to ask Deion Sanders about my son won't play for this team, that team, this. How many teams? There's only 32 spots in the 1st round. Certain teams already have their quarterbacks. If you say, well, my kid's not going to play for this, I don't want my son playing for this team, that you narrow it down. You give him less options. He goes and he has a bad interview with the Giants, and the Giants say, all right, I'm good. And Deion, don't tell me he didn't have a bad interview with the Giants, because he absolutely did. I don't care about the headphone thing. I'm talking about the install package. We all know it happened, and you know it happened. And then your big mouth on top of it caused your son. Here's another thing. Shador Sanders right now is getting the best coaching he's ever received. You ever think to yourself, maybe he played so well because for the last couple weeks, couple months, he's getting the best coaching he's ever got? Because his father has been his coach his whole life. So all the bad habits Shedeur had, holding on to the ball too long, swinging in and out of the pot, that's from Deion allowing it. So he's getting the best coaching that he's ever had. The talent is there with Shedeur. It's always been there. But in the NFL, to thrive, to be the Tom Brady, to be Patrick Mahomes, you got to do all the little things right over and over and over again. Am I saying he can't do it? No, I'm not saying he can't do it. But when he drops in the draft and you're blaming everybody else but you and Shedeur, and then you have your little followers that do this, Josina Anderson, she's attacking Jackson Dart the entire time the kid's playing football, and she's only doing it because he's white. Could you imagine if a white let's say Shador Sanders had a bad night, and a white ESPN reporter every play told you he sucked, told you he sucked, told you, they wouldn't be working at ESPN anymore. They wouldn't have a job. And that person would never work in sports media again because he would be labeled a racist forever. And that's exactly what would happen. You don't like what I'm saying? Too bad. That's reality, and that's the truth. The way that the fact that Shedeur's great weekend turned into a race baiting session by racist Ryan Clark and Josina Anderson and all the wokesters at ESPN ruined this moment because they had to make it racial. Oh, the white NFL, the racist NFL owners, the old white men that hate confident black men, and all the other effing garbage. And that's you're not. The funny thing is, like, racist Ryan Clark, he has no shame, like zero. He's not embarrassed at all when he opens his big, stupid mouth. He's just straight up trash. That's what racist Ryan Clark is. Mr. Oppressed, the same guy that played in the NFL, went to college for free, makes $2 to $10 million a year on ESPN. Yeah, Man, that's a pretty tough life, racist Ryan Clark. People said things to you didn't like when you were growing up. Well, guess what? Welcome to life. You don't think any other races of people had nasty shit said to them when they were growing up? Get the F over yourself. All of you. Get over yourself. Make me sick. I'm going to end it with this. Jackson Dart had a great night. He's a young kid. He got an opportunity of a lifetime. He's living up to the hype. He's living up to the pick. And leave it to racist Ryan Clark, Josina Anderson, Deion Sanders, and the rest of the clown show to try to ruin somebody else's good night because Deion and his kid don't want to take responsibility for Deion's big mouth and Shedor's own actions. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with ChrisChamasiros.